So, I guess it's time to dig into the indies. Yeah, it's been a while in coming. So we've got a lot to sort of cover that has happened over the past few weeks. I'll sort of only touch on the major stuff, but we'll go through a lot of it. So, I guess the big thing to start off with, considering it's probably been the two biggest shows of the past few weeks so far, are the New Japan shows. Both the show from September 24th, the Destruction in Kobe show, and then the King of Pro Wrestling show from this past Monday. So, with the Destruction in Kobe show, some of the big bits, Killer Elite Squad won the tag titles off War Machine, the champs, and the other challengers being the Guerrillas of Destiny. With the Killer Bomb. Actually, 2 Killer Bombs needed on Raw to get the win. Oh, I see. No, it was an attempted Killer Bomb, which was reversed, but then they managed to hit it out on the second attempt. I take it back. Word is it actually wasn't too bad a match, which is, I guess, good to see. So then we had, and then the other title match on that show, Kenny Omega beat Juice Robinson in what's said to be a very good match. The key thing to note, though, Omega kicked out of Pulp Friction, which is the first time that that's happened, at least in New Japan. The finish came with Juice going for a top rope variant of it, but Omega managed to hit him with the one-winged angel off the top rope instead, and get the win. And yeah, the cleaner's back, surgery or no surgery, it doesn't matter. Commended Juice on his effort, but he's the best in the world, but he's got to head back to Canada. And then the post-match interview, Yoshihashi came out and basically challenged Omega. We'll get to that, because that's part of the Ring of Honor stuff coming this weekend. So the King of Pro Wrestling stuff itself, Roppongi 3K were victorious over Taguchi and Ricochet to win the junior tag belts. Unsurprisingly, the new team is the returning Sho, Tanaka, and Yo Heikamatsu. So it's basically Sho and Yo. It's the Tempura Boys, as they are known from Ring of Honor and stuff. They're actually back. And the match was pretty good from what I've heard. With the sort of double team. So Sho basically lifts the person up and Yo hits pay dirt on him. And that was on Ricochet this time round. But Sho and Yo are tag team champs, so congrats to them. Then the Killer Elite Squad, Guerrillas of Destiny and War Machine face each other again, except this time it was slightly different in that it was an elimination match. The first ones out was the Guerrillas being hit with a killer bomb. And yeah, they weren't happy afterwards. And it was between War Machine, the former champs, and the new champs, Killer Elite Squad, and eventually Hanson got killer bombed through a table. And the champs retain. The Bullet Club was successful against Beretta, Yoshihashi, and Yado. And Omega did cut a promo against Yoshihashi ahead of the Ring of Honor match that they'll be having. Then, after intermission, the Knife Guy was back, except he's now being known as Switchblade. Ha ha! If this isn't Sami Callihan, that's a swerve. Switchblade will be making his New Japan debut on the 5th of November. It was an interesting match with Ibushi and Robinson beating Tanahashi and Makabe, because it's clear that they're going to be doing Tanahashi versus Ibushi somewhere down the line. Methinks Wrestle Kingdom, because of the way that they've spun it out with the fact that, well, we'll get to it. So then we had Ospreay beating Kushida, and unsurprisingly, just like to some extent the Pro Wrestling World Cup, you know, the What Culture match that they had, it was solid. Probably given more of a chance as well to do well, but Ospreay wins with the Ozcutter. Then afterwards, Hiromu Takahashi was about to challenge, but then Marty Scurll showed up, snapped Takahashi's fingers, and said, well, no matter how good you think you are, you're not as good as the villain. I want that junior heavyweight title. Consider me your next challenger. And they agreed and left, and Takahashi's still upset. And then laughed. He knows something that we don't. So yeah, the match that's clearly being teased for What Culture / Defiant, and we've already had in some sort of shape or form in Ring of Honor, is now coming to New Japan. That could be very interesting. Naito beat Ishii for the briefcase to retain. Very good match. With Naito having to use not one but two Destinos in order to put Ishii down. And then Okada beat Evil to retain the IWGP Heavyweight title. Pretty good match as well. Okada winning after the Tombstone followed by the Rainmaker. After, I think it was like the second or third Rainmaker. That eventually won it for him after the Tombstone, at least. I think he did one or two before it. So that means that Okada versus Naito is now official. We're not having any matches for the briefcase or the titles between now and January. So, because of that, Okada's pretty much guaranteed to break the New Japan record for the longest ever single title reign. I think. So Gado's about to do his usual promo for Okada, but then Naito comes out and says, do you want to see, you know, the Okada that beat Evil and the Naito that beat Ishii? Will that main event work for you guys? We're still 3 months away, though. Enjoy the wait. And then Okada said, he ain't tranquilo, but he won't lose. And he'll make it rain at the Tokyo Dome. So coming out of that, from what I remember, at least from the notes, let me see if there's any sort of notes about the announcements. Yeah, so Power Struggle, the big show on the 5th. We've got Switchblade's debut, but the matches that we have got confirmed is Tanahashi defending the Intercontinental title against Kota Ibushi. Ospreay defending against Marty Scurll, that'll be on there as well. And also, and this was in one of the other matches, this was in actually the match that Chaos had with Suzuki Gun, Toru Yano is challenging Minoru Suzuki for the Never Openweight title. On paper, that seems stupid, but keep in mind, not just in G1 competitions, but in everything, one-on-one, Toru Yano has always beaten Minoru Suzuki. So I have to see what happens. The full lineup hasn't been revealed because they're also, over the next couple of weeks, doing the Super Junior Tag Team Tournament. The teams comprising of Kushida teaming up with Hirai Kawato, Sho and Yo, Roppongi 3K, Dragon Lee and Titan from CMLL, Takahashi and Bushi, Liger and Tiger Mask, Kanemaru and El Desperado, Taguchi and ACH, and Takamichinoku and Taichi. So they'll all be part of that. That'll be whittled down from 8 to 4 to 2, and then whoever... Well, I guess because Sho and Yo are in it, that mixes it up, maybe. So whether the titles will be on the line, who knows, by the end. If not, there'll probably be challenges come January. And then also, after Power Struggle, it'll be the World Tag League. So it'll be the teams that will be trying to, from what I can tell, whoever wins that tag league probably is going to be #1 contenders to Killer Elite Squad. So we'll see what goes down from there. Also, actually worth mentioning that the start of the Young Lions Cup, with the junior guys getting to try and get the chance of following the footsteps of quite a lot of greats. I think I mentioned it on the last one when we talked about this. That starts this week, and I think goes on for the next week or so. Because I think Kawato might be in both, so yeah, he's going to be busy. So, in terms of the big results, the big stuff coming out of the PCW show from September 22nd, yes, we're going that far back. Yestin Reese's championship celebration got interrupted by Ashton Smith, who challenged him to a title match later on in the night. Yestin retained that. Dean Allmark retained his Cruiserweight title against Chris Ridgway. And in the last man standing match, Tyson T-Bone lost to Bubblegum, so Bubblegum stays an active wrestler. Because the stipulation was if Bubblegum loses, he retires. Thing is, from what I can tell after this happening, Bubblegum hasn't wrestled since because he's got injured. That isn't awkward at all. So the Fight Club Pro shows, I might as well mention through these, because I actually had some first-hand accounts, because the convention where I was is only sort of like a short train ride away from where Fight Club Pro happens. So there were quite a few people that were going to the Fight Club Pro shows, and then showing up very tired, especially in the Friday into the Saturday show. For them, because from what I remember them saying, the main event, which was the tag team death match, went till about 1 AM. Keep in mind the convention, if you want to get in first thing and you're willing to wait sort of in the queues, the doors don't open until 10. So not a lot of time. Also, I don't know when trains will be running that late, so I guess Ubers were used, maybe? I don't know. So, Chris Brooks successfully defended his Fight Club Pro title against Shane Strickland, Flash Morgan Webster, and Sami Callihan. Then the Millie McKenzie-Jessica Havoc match became a three-way because Kaylee Ray got involved, and Millie McKenzie started suplex citying Havoc and Kaylee Ray. I didn't even know this until I checked up. Millie's only like 19. And she's doing some crazy stuff. She literally is like the next Nixon Yule. Which I don't want her to go to the E that soon, please. Dragon Gate beat British Strong Style in the six-man team stuff. So Mochizuki, Chima, and Aita beat Pete Dunne, Torrent 7, and Tyler Bate. And that death match, Jimmy Havoc and Clint Margera beating Drew Parker and Ricky Shane Page. From what I remembered, 3 of the 4 needed medical attention and had to be sort of carried to the back. All of them were bleeding. There was blood all over the mats. Thank God it was the last match. Jeez. So then on the Saturday show, the Pro Wrestling Revolver sort of themed one, even though there were Dragon Gate guys on it as well. Chris Brooks beat Aita to retain the Fight Club Pro title. And then I guess the big thing as well, Dunn, 7 and Bate beat Sami Callihan and the Chris brothers. From the Lucha Toronto show, from the Lucha Fest event thing, Deshaun Pratt successfully retained his Premier title against Tyson Dukes. At the Alpha 1 Phantom of the Banquet Hall show from September 24, Gregory Owen retained the Zero Gravity title in a 3-way, beating Shane Saber and Space Monkey. And Kobe Durst successfully retained his Alpha Male title in a 4-way elimination match. He eliminated ACH. Josh Alexander, one of the other opponents, eliminated Alessandro Del Bruno, the 4th guy, and then Durst eliminated Alexander to retain the belt. Freelance is Shaken Not Stirred from September 22nd. Stevie Fierce retained the Freelance World title. Team Beta beat Matt Nix and Alex Olsen to retain the tag titles. Worth mentioning that Stevie Fierce beat B-Boy to retain the world title, by the way. And also Su Yung beat Akane Fujita and Kylie Ray to retain the Fest Wrestling title as well. And Space Monkey won a scramble match to determine a #1 contender for Stevie Fierce. So I think that's for the show coming up in a week or so. So you never know, Space Monkey might become a world champion. Let's hope. On Point Wrestling. I guess the big stuff that came out of this was Tony Deppen beating Matt Tremont to retain the title, and then Tremont bid farewell because obviously with his ownership commitments and whatever with CZW, that's his that's going to be his focus now, from what I can tell. Beyond Wrestling, their show at the Electric Haze Club. It's interesting that the women were able to do a show in Aurora and the men didn't. So on the YouTube pre-show, which I believe is still available on Beyond's channel, Roy Gulak and Jay Freddy beat Tracy Williams and Wheeler Yuta. Dick Justice beat Francis Kip Stevens. Deonna Purrazzo beat Penelope Ford. And Matt Tremont defeated Ace Romero in a 15,000 thumbtack match, if I can say it properly. And then the main part of the show, because there's no titles, it's worth just running through the card here. EYFBO beat Brandon Watson Zenji. Josh Briggs beat Maxwell Jacob Friedman. Cam Zagami, Anthony Green, Brick Mason, and Mikey Webb beat Johnny Ryan, Johnny Cockstrong, and Massage Envy. Martin Stone beat GAT Dunn. The Amityville Project of Mike Werner and Ryan Gallione, victorious over the Doom Patrol of Chris Dickinson and Yaka. Brian Malonis victorious over John Silver. Team PAWG beat the Gentleman's Club, and Joey Janela beat AR Fox in the main event. And then the Evolve shows. So I guess the big stuff from this, from Evolve 92 on the Friday, was that the Troll Boys beat the Workhorsemen of Henry and Drake to win the Evolve tag titles. Very interesting. The following night, however, the Doom Patrol beat them. And they lost the titles within 24 hours. There's a lot of people believing that Ethan Page was the guy that leaked the Flow Slam stuff, because basically he isn't working for them anymore. So no wonder the titles changed hands. You never know. He's adamant that it wasn't. So there's the facts that we know of. That Ethan's left, and he says it's nothing to do with this, you know, the leak of the Evolved WWE stuff and whatever. Stevie Fierce retained the freelance wrestling title over Bryce Benjamin, GPA, and Matt Nix as part of that show as well, the Evolve 93 show. And on top of the Doom Patrol winning the tag belts, Zack Sabre Jr. retained the Evolve World title over Keith Lee, and Matt Riddle retained the WWN title in the Anything Goes match with Hot Sauce Tracy Williams. And then Ring of Honor's Death Before Dishonor. So in the 6-man number 1 contenders match, Kingdom beat the Briscoes and Bully Ray beat Kingdom. Sort of makes sense. Marty Scurll beat Chuck Taylor. Punishment Martinez beat Jay White in the Vegas street fight. The Hung Bucks beat Bully Ray and the Briscoes to retain. Kenny King beat Kushida in a pretty good match from what I've heard. Silas Young beat Jay Lethal in a very good match. The Bucks dropped the belts to the Motor City Machine Guns. So amazingly, that's the first time the Motor City Machine Guns have held the World Tag Titles. So interesting situation there. And then Cody beat Minoru Suzuki in a pretty solid match. Could have been much worse, but pretty much delivered. And then in terms of the TV taping stuff, Kenny King beat Josh Woods to retain the TV title. Bully Ray teased retirement or something. Cody signed this Ring of Honor contract. It's supposedly the most lucrative in history. Then amazingly, he beat Cheeseburger for the world title. I don't know how that came up. Mark Briscoe beat Shane Taylor, Chucky T, and Punishment Martinez to get a shot at the TV title somewhere down the line. Cody beat Scorpio Sky as well. Lots of other stuff, but we'll go through that with the TV reviews, certainly over the upcoming weeks and everything. The AAA Heroes Immortales show. Lady Shani beat Ayaka Hamada to win the vacant title. So yeah, it's official. She's gone. The Copa Antonio Pena, which was also for the Latin American title, won by El Hijo de Fantasma. So a load of people were dropped into this match with Wagner and Dynastia removed, and then there was a bit early on the night when Tejano, who was supposed to be in it, because he threatened El Hijo, because he threatened Fantasma Senior. he got thrown out of the match, or at least suspended. Also worth noting that EC3 and Eddie Edwards were scheduled, but never appeared, and were advertised, and then suddenly weren't advertised. Because that happened. And after Phantasma got the cup and everything and the title, Tahano attacked him. Reasons. So in the Dome Cage thing, the loser was Tito Santana. Which I don't think is that one, it's a different one. Mainly I can say that because apparently in the last 4 months, not only has he lost his mask, he's now lost his hair. Crazy. Johnny Mundo beat Ray Wagner by DQ to, I guess, sort of retain. Basically, Mundo framed Wagner for using a weapon, because weapons were declared all illegal, which is an interesting deal, because I thought they always were. Oh, and also, Mundo dropped the Cruiserweight title earlier on the night as well to Lanzaloff. So Mundo's dropped the Cruiserweight title and the Latin America title, but he's still AAA World Heavyweight Champ. And then Pagano beat El Macias with Joe Leader there as well, and apparently there was just a load of blood. The show was teased to be on Twitch, never was. People being announced, like the TNA people, never showed up. Yeah, looking at the notes. Oh, and also Carter Bravo, Macho Cotta Jr. and Soul Rocker beat Aerostar Drago and Raptor. Winning, I don't know, winning or retaining, but it was a best of 5 series, and the OGT team of the Carter Bravo and Macho Cotta and Soul Rocker won 3 on the bounce. So they avoid the clean sweep, and I guess clean sweep themselves. Winning every match that they had to. We'll get some more AAA in a minute. So the ICW Fight Club stuff. I guess the big stuff that came out of it. Kenny Williams is basically facing Rey Mysterio at the Fear and Loathing show. Joe Coffey beat Aaron Echo to retain the world title. That gets somewhere in a bit. So Sabu beat Mikey Whiplash, with Sabu using a screwdriver to rip him open. And then Whiplash aimed a kendo stick at Chris Renfrew afterwards, and Renfrew grabbed it and says, "I've been in hell for 6 months, so I'm going to effing end you, Whiplash. My name is Chris effing Renfrew." Can't be bothered to swear today, I don't know why. BT Gunn beat Jordan Devlin to retain the 0G title, and then afterwards Joe Coffey laid him out, and basically Joe says, you aren't getting a shot at my title, you might be wanting to challenge me, but no. And BT rightfully replies, "I'm the only person that's pinned you this year in this company." And they brawl, and Coffey gets the mic and says, "Fine, we're doing it at the Hydro. Only it's title for title, winner takes all. Either BT Gunn or Joe Coffey are going to be dual ICW World Champs and ICW 0G Champs. We'll have to see." And then the big thing, Kaylee Ray beat Casey to retain the women's title. The Filthy Generation basically attacked Casey. DCT and Viper then came to make the save, and then afterwards the Filthy Generation beat down Casey some more. And then Jody Fleisch and the Kinky Party actually ran out to make the save. So there you go. So from the Rev Pro stuff, CCK retained the tag titles. Basically, Travis Banks filled in for Kid Lycos on the Freebird sort of rules, but they beat the Aussie Open team. Oh, Mark Davis and Kyle Fletcher. Also, interestingly, there was a bit where Rob Leas came dressed as Shah Samuels and said, "I'm moving on to bigger and better things." So that's clearly become something. And some mystery person attacked Speedball Mike Bailey after he lost to Zach Gibson. Who knows? And then the Progress Wrestling Women's deal, the Revelations of Divine Love show from Tufnell Park. So in the quarterfinals, Ginny beat Candy Floss, Millie McKenzie beat Sierra Loxton, Shakara beat Zoe Lucas, and Charlie Evans beat Charlie Morgan. Then the semis, Charlie Evans beat Shakara and Ginny beat Millie McKenzie. Then in a four-way for fill time, David Francisco beat the OJMO, Mauro Chavez and Charlie Carter. And then the final for the women's tournament, Charlie Evans beat Ginny. So Charlie Evans will challenge Toni Storm for that Progress World title, or Progress Women's World title, I should say, somewhere down the line. From the House of Glory return, Chapter 2 as it was labelled, Leroy Green beat champ Anthony Gongan, another challenger Ken Broadway, to win the House of Glory Crown Jewel title. In the 2-on-1 match, Steve Mack beat the New York Wrecking Crew of Chris Seaton and Smooth Blackmon by DQ. So even though it was 2-on-1, they still had to use DQ stuff in order to actually keep the belts. Wow. And Amazing Red beat Ricochet to retain the House of Glory World title, or the heavyweight title, I should say. Defy Wrestling up in Seattle. Shane Strickland retained the Defy AX Grand Prix title, beating Matt Riddle. Also the PCW, the Pacific Championship Wrestling titles on the line. John Hennigan retaining against Jeff Cobb on that one as well. And the light heavyweight title was also retained for the PCW brand, with Douglas James beating Ravenous Randy to retain. Smash Wrestling's Fight Night. I don't have any results from the show from September 30th. The big stuff, Tyson Dukes beat Jay White with the title on the line. And Cody Dean beat Scotty O'Shea in the main event, the London City Riot match. Because it was in London, Ontario, you see. So then C4. Some pretty interesting stuff here. Josh Alexander beat Joey Janela. A lot of praise for that one, apparently. Some stuff happened with sort of the heels that got unveiled at the start of the last season, with Twiggy saying that Tyson Dukes has got to stay home. So it's Evil Uno and the Beast King FTM, who successfully, with some shortcuts and everything, beat Stu Grayson and Thomas Dubois, with Matthew St. Jack coming to make the save, but then getting assaulted himself. Probably a key note. Space Monkey won a 6-way scramble. Heavy Metal Chaos regained the tag titles, beating Fight or Flight to become 2-time champs. And then the Underground champ Kobe Durst beat Matthew St. Jack to win the C4 World title itself after 735 days as champ. Their next shows are coming November 24th and 25th for the anniversary shows entitled Near Dark and The Prestige, because Nolan. So for the Alpha One show from Oshawa, Ontario from October 1st, Two Stars retained their tag belts, beating the besties in the world. And Kobe Durst beat Colt Cabana to retain the Alpha Male title. No other big matches went down from what I can tell, at least of note to cover at this point. For Shikara, Rory Gulak beat Hallowicked, which means Hallowicked lost his 2 points, and so gets all his momentum gone. Said to be good though. Murloc got his 3rd point, beating Ashley Vox, and she was Ashley was inconsolable in the ring afterwards with that loss. And then, interestingly, we had a 4-corner elimination tag with Cyberhawks with 2 points against 3 teams with no points. That's the Dustin Chuck Taylor combo, Hermit Crab and Cajun Crawdad, and the Rumblebees. The Rumblebees won overall, but also got 2 eliminations, so they have 2 points now. And Juan Francisco de Coronado retained the Grand Championship, forcing Angelo Setti to pass out in the Coronado clutch while stomping his head like a mud hole? Maybe? Probably? So, now we get to actually the recent ones. If I can be so... I was going to say bold, but that's not the right word. So, it's the Farewell Jimmy show at Hurricane Hall. The big thing was basically Jimmy Kanda turned his back on the Jimmies during the closing stretch, allowing T-Hawk to get the win for the other team of Takagi Yoshida, El Lindemann, and Punch Tominaga and Brother Yashi. Which is rather a shame. So, yeah, then the big thing is that he is the newest member of Berserk. They are going to, like, different names. I can't remember what they are exactly off the top of my head. But, the Jimmy's train is no more. Their next big show, I think, isn't till November. From what I can recall. I was going to say remember, but I didn't want it to rhyme. There you go. So I think there's still a few weeks till the next big thing. Certainly there's no sort of matches that I'm aware of yet for stuff so far. Sticking with Japan, the AAA World Cup stuff. So, actually I need to actually get those notes because I haven't got them right in front of me. From what I heard, again, this was one that they were teasing to be on Twitch because of how well it did. And just like last time, they didn't do anything with it at all. On the preview show on the Monday in Shinkiba, the Shinkiba first ring in Tokyo, only about 300 people there. But they sort of made it look like the Lucha Underground Temple, which is an interesting move, considering it's not the same thing, allegedly. So Aerostar beat Marty the Moth, and Helico and Son of Havoc beat Masamune and Taiji Ishimori. Pagano and Psycho Clown beat Fujita and Nasawa. King Cuerno beat Drago, and Vampiro Mil Muertes went to a no contest, because Nasawa ran in and attacked both men. Because reasons. And then the World Cup show itself. So with the quarterfinals, Pagano and Psycho Clown beat Cody Hall and Quiet Storm. Mil Muertes and Vampiro beat Kendo Kashin and Nasawa. Vampiro attacked the ref and chokeslammed an All Japan trainee, apparently. Crazy. Marty Martinez and Son of Havoc. Oh, sorry. High 69 Taiji Ishimori beat Marty Martinez and Son of Havoc. That's the wrong way, person on Cubs fan. So the Japanese team beat, I guess, Lucha Underground / US Lucha, whatever. Andrew Everett and DJZ beat Aerostar and Drago as well. This did get best match, apparently. Son of Havoc got best dive for that one in the previous match as well. Then in filler, Heidi Katrina, Rekka and Taylor Adams beat Danny Jones, Diego and Samire Natasu. Then in the semis for the Lucha World Cup, Pagano and Psycho Clown beat Kashin and Nasawa. With some vamp interference to set up Psycho Clown and Pagano winning. And then the other semi-final actually went 10 minutes. But in the overtime period, High 69 and Taiji Ishimori victorious over Everett and DJZ to go through to the final. Then Quinn Cuerno beat Angelico with the Thrill of the Hunt. And the champions this year are Pagano and Psycho Clown, beating High 69 and Ishimori. Ishimori named Best Wrestler of the Night, so good performance for him. He was apparently disappointed because 2 years ago, or sorry, 3 years ago. No, 2 years ago he got to the first round, so basically the last 8. Last year was in the semi-finals of the last 4, and this year was the finals of the last 2, so by that logic, hopefully he's winning in 2018. Does that sort of make sense? So one big thing that I'm going to be mentioning now, because it is getting a lot of attention, including like mainstream media stuff over here on the BBC in the UK. Pro Wrestling Eve, the women's promotion based out of London, although it does shows in a few places around the country. Some big stuff happening. In that they're actually doing a She Won climax. You see what they did there? She, because it's females. She Won climax. So there were 2 qualifiers on the Nasty Women show that happened this past weekend. Viper beating Jayla Dark, and Charlie Evans beating... Sorry, Jamie Hayter beating Dahlia Black to advance. So... the next shows that they're going to be having in the Resistance Gallery in London, it's 4 shows over 2 days, the 11th and the 12th of November. Interesting blocks, I will say. Not 2 blocks this time, there's 3 blocks, so I'm guessing we're going to have a triple threat by the end of it. So, Block A has Nicole Matthews, Kaylee Ray, Charlie Morgan and Nina Samuels. Then a very sort of Japanese-influenced Block B, as it's Emi Sakura, Maiko Satomura, Viper, a.k.a. Piper Niven from the Mae Young Classic, and also Jetta. And then Block C has Laura Di Matteo, Sami Jane, Jamie Hayter, and the Session Moth Martina. So yeah, we'll be covering that, I think, on a show-to-show basis, because it seems to be getting a lot of momentum, and the fact that, just looking through the other stuff, we had Kaylee Ray beating Ginny, Nina Samuels beating Millie McKenzie, Laura Di Matteo victorious over Veda Scott, Jetta and Erin Angel beating Livy Grace and Zoe Lucas, Charlie Evans beating Casey Owens and Charlie Morgan, and Sami Zayn retaining the Eve title over Debbie Sharp. There's quite a few big names there that are getting an international name for themselves. Some that should be. So we'll cover that for sure. OTT in Ireland had their 2 shows in Dublin and Belfast. I guess the big things coming out of it, Dalton Castle and the boys will be facing Marty Scurll and the Young Bucks at the Being the Elite show in December. Jordan Devlin won a 3-way, beating El Ligero and Scotty Davis, and then Mark Haskins retained the No Limits title over ACH. So afterwards, Devlin showed up and wanted a match with Haskins for the title at Being the Elite, but was interrupted by Matt Riddle, who earlier on the night beat Mike Bailey. That was probably a damn good match. And so it was then announced that it will be Devlin versus Riddle for on the November show. Whoever wins that faces Haskins to the No Limits title at Being the Elite. Either way, though, he did get a shot on the Belfast show the night after. Haskins retaining over Devlin and the other opponent being ACH. Matt Riddle beat Zach Gibson. I don't know if that was the WWE title or not. Probably not. Who knows? The Kings of the North of Damian Corvin, Bonesaw, and Duncan Disorderly retained the tag belts over Chris Brooks, Luther Valentine, and Tucker. And the Session Moth and Colt Cabana beat the Angel Cruisers of Angel Cruise and Be Cool. Next, the MLW one-shot show, which has had pretty good reviews. We had Tamatonga beat Martin Stone, Rhett Giddings and Seth Petruzzelli beat Mike Parra and Saeed El Saba. Maxwell Jacob Freeman beating Jimmy Utah, Barrington Hughes over Marcus Espada, Darby Allin beating Jason Cade, Santana Garrett getting the win over Mia Yim, Filthy Tom Lawler beating Jeff Cobb, MVP victorious over Sammy Callahan, Shane Strickland beating Ricochet in the main event, and they then announced, so much for it being a one-shot, MLW will be running again, Never Say Never, the show. Why are we naming shows after what's his name? Justin Bieber tracks. Why don't I know it's a Justin Bieber track? You don't want to know. Interestingly, though, that Never Say Never show will be in Orlando. So I might have to see if Owen can go. So the Women's Wrestling Revolution had their final show at the Aurora nightclub in Providence, Rhode Island. On this one, Jordan Grace beat Rachel Ellering. Tasha Steeles and Karen Q beat Renee Michelle and Nyla Rose. Terry Calloway victorious over Ali Rex. Willow Nightingale defeated Elena Pogosyan. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I think. Maybe. Wrong one. Tessa Blanchard beat Sonia Strong. Taylor Hendrickson and Alexis Nevaeh beat Team C-Stars of Ashley Vox and Delmi Exo. Jenny Rose got the win over Hot Scoop Skyler. Davian Long, accompanied by Sammy Lane, beat Maria Manic, accompanied by Penelope Ford, after Vianette Rivera attacked Maria Manic from behind. And the main event, Deonna Purrazzo beat Mia Yim. Then AAW seized the day. Yeah. They did a show literally a week before another show. We'll get to that. Crazy. So on this one, Samantha Heights beat Ali Cat by the Bangarang. Kurt Stallion beat Chuck Taylor with a beatdown on Taylor afterwards. Eddie Kingston beat Mark Hottenbauer. Jake Something and Brubaker defeated Zero Gravity. AR Fox victorious over Sammy Callahan. Trey Miguel and Stephen Wolf became #1 contenders in a triple threat tag team ladder match, beating Paco and Ace Perry and Connor Braxton and Cody Rice. Desmond Xavier and Zachary Wentz retained the tag titles over the Hooligans. Then in the Women's Championship Tournament first round matches, Rachel Ellering beat Sienna and Candice LeRae beat Britt Baker. And then Keith Lee and Shane Strickland beat Michael Elgin and Myron Reed, and Phoenix beat Penta to retain the AAW Heavyweight title. with a submission win, actually, which is a bit of an interesting one. So in terms of stuff coming this weekend, the Potter Row in Edinburgh hosts ICW's 11th anniversary. On this one, we've got Joe Coffey defending the World Heavyweight title against Moose. BT Gunn defending the Zero Gravity title against Kid Fight. I'd have thought those are going to stay where they are, otherwise it gets awkward for next month. Mikey Whiplash beat Chris Ren, or takes on Chris Renfrew in a death match, should say. The Purge faced the Kings of Catch. I'm so used to saying beat because they're saying so many results. Wolfgang versus Stevie Boy, tongue twisters. Bram taking on Jody Fleitch. Kenny Williams versus Jordan Devlin. Lionheart versus Zach Gibson, and Liam Thompson will be addressing the fans. Viper and Joe Hendry will be on the show as well, apparently. I don't know in what capacity. Rev Pro have a show in Cardiff this coming Sunday. Bubblegum out with injury, so Travis Banks replaces him. So it's now going to be Travis Banks taking on Speedball Mike Bailey. Pretty interesting cover, I will say. Ginny, Vader Scott and Charlie Evans go head-to-head in a freeway. Chris Ridgway takes on Ryan Smile. Chief Deputy Dunn and Lord Gideon Gray take on Aussie Open of Mark Davis and Carl Fletcher. Chris Brooks faces Eddie Dennis. And Josh Bodom defends the Cruiserweight title against Flash Morgan Webster. Flash's redemption, maybe? Okay, it's a different company, but so be it. Destiny Wrestling up in Mississauga, Ontario, has its Raising Hell show this week. This all Friday as well. On this one, we've got Joey Janela versus Josh Alexander. Zandra Bale and Stacey Thibault face Casey Spinelli and Jesse Mack. Randy Rain versus Big Magic with Magic's security guys in his corner. There's a 6-man challenge with Evil Uno, Dylan Davis, Phil Atlas, Stone Rockwell, Dustin Quicksilver, and RJ City. And the Battle of the Provinces, it'll be Tyson Dukes representing Ontario, and Marcus taking on Marcus Burke representing the Maritimes. And this may be for the Destiny title, I don't know. Pete Dunne one-on-one with John Hennigan. Yeah, Joe Mo versus Punch. I don't know. CWF Mid-Atlantic's big CWF Rumble show is happening this Saturday. So the matches we do know, the tag titles on the line with the Dawsons defending against Aaron Briggs and Mecca Mercenary, trying to get the belts back. And then also the Dirty Daddy versus Justice, Kane Justice. Whoever wins gets the belt. Whoever loses cannot have a rematch. This is the end of the feud. We're going there. And then we get to the Rumble itself. So because Roy Wilkins has cashed in his golden ticket on this match, because basically if you have the golden ticket you can have any match of the choosing with any stipulation, he's decided to use it on the actual Rumble match. Basically, into Rumble for the world title, a la sort of Triple H a few years back, and the big one, I guess, Ric Flair, close to 26 years ago? 25 still, technically, because it's 2017. So there's 30 people, but because of the stipulations of the golden ticket, number 1 is Trevor Lee, and he has to defend the belt in this match. I don't know where Roy Wilkins is in the listings. He's in the match, we know that much. Along with a load of people we do know, and the mysteries that they always try to do for most of these Rumble shows. So that's going down. So big stuff there. Then this Friday and Saturday, AAW has its next Jim Lynam Memorial Tournament. So the Friday show, night 1. The first round matches are Penta versus Elgin, Everett versus Zima Ion, or DJZ, whatever you want to call it, Desmond Zagier versus AR Fox, Mark Haskins versus Eddie Kingston, Sammy Callahan taking on Matt Fitchett, ACH versus Kurt Stallion, Zachary Wentz and Jeff Cobb go at it, and Myron Reed versus Brian Cage. Those will continue on with the quarters, the semis, and the finals on night 2. Whoever wins it gets a shot at the AAW heavyweight title at the Windy City Classic show in November. Also on night 1, Ray Phoenix defending the heavyweight title against Trevor Lee. And also Riddle and Sabre Jr. team up to take on Shane Strickland and Keith Lee. That could be a very interesting match. Also, on night 2, there's a 6-way mayhem. The only 2 names announced so far are Paco and Davey Vega. 4 more to be filled. Also, Ray Phoenix will be part of the show, and Low-Key. So whether they'll go one-on-one, we'll have to see. CZW. On Thursday, they are in their new CZW arena at the Rastelli Complex in Seoul, New Jersey. So on this one, we've got David Starr versus Kit Osborne, a CZW Rules 4-way match with Ricky Shane Page, Jimmy Lloyd, Alex Colon, and Mr. Claxton, the former Connor Claxton. We've got a 4-way standard with JT Dunn, Space Monkey, Trey Miguel, and Johnny Silver. No CZW rules for that one. Storm of Entrails and the Hooligans go at it in a death match. Tag team death match, that is. Ace Romero, 1-on-1 with Greg Excellent. OI4K take on the Carnies. And then the 2 title matches. Maxwell Jacob Freeman defends the Wire title against Masada. Oh, that could be fun. And then the one which could really steal the show. The open challenge for the world title from Shane Strickland has been answered by Ethan Page. That could be an interesting one. Shikara having their Hour of Power on Shikaratopia this Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern. The match only confirmed so far at the minute. Razorhawk defending the Online's Cup against Ophidian, the former Whisper, if you will, who got a very impressive win over Jody Fleisch in a great match from King of Trios Night 3. Day 3, whatever you want to call it, that I was at. You know, even though he's a heel, full credit to him, because, you know, it wasn't perfect, at least in terms of doing the Ophidian moves, but whoever is under that mask, full praise to you, sir. You know who you are. If you're watching this, I don't know why, but thank you, if you are. Don't know why I'm saying that, won't be. DM me on Twitter at AshIsMyNameUK if you are the actual Ophidian. Because I'm not going to reveal anything. I'm just putting praise on your work. Dear sir. Then again, he could actually just tweet me with the Ophidian account, so I don't know. ACW, Anarchy Championship Wrestling, not part of the WWN stuff this weekend. They're actually doing a whole load of other shows. So there's a set of shows from the Proving Ground crew, which I guess is like the wrestling school guys. There's going to be a group of them at the Coatee River Bike Fest on Saturday and Sunday, with a Saturday show at 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. and a Sunday show at noon. And then there's also a Full Throttle Full Fest hosted by Harley Davidson and Newport Rishi on the Saturday and the Sunday, with ACW having some stuff at 2:30 and 7. The 7 o'clock show featuring a steel cage match between Marcos Espada and Blanco Loco. There's also a Sunday show at 2:30. For both shows, the VIP seating is $15, the general admission seating is $5, and the standing room only stuff is free to attend. So feel free to check that out if you want to, if you're in the Coatesy River Bike Fest and Full Throttle Fall Fest vicinities this weekend in Florida, I believe. So then the Evolve show. So Saturday, they're heading to La Boom in New York. On that card, we've got Darby Allin versus Jarek 120, Tracy Williams taking on Fred Yehai, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Yaka, and Matt Riddle and Keith Lee go one-on-one for the WWN title in a last man standing match. Chris Dickinson, Jason Kincaid, Austin Theory, and Priscilla Kelly all set to be part of the show as well. And then for Evolve 95, on Sunday in East Haven, Connecticut, we've got the Paradise Alley Professional Wrestling bonus card kicking it off at 6. And then with the main stuff, the only 3 matches confirmed so far: Keith Lee versus Darby Allin, Matt Riddle taking on Fred Yehai, and Zack Sabre Jr. putting the Evolve title on the line if Williams is at Evolve 94. Why did they say that? Is he not going to show up? I don't know. Yeah, so it's Sabre Jr. versus Hot Sauce Tracy Williams. Also set to be a part of the stuff, Dickinson and Yaka. That's probably a tag team title defense. Austin Theory, Priscilla Kelly, Jason Kincaid, Jarek 120, plus new talent. Don't know who that is, we'll have to see. And then the big stuff, Ring of Honor. So, all this week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4 shows, 1 of which is iPay-per-view, 3 of which are available online, 4 of which are happening, whatever. So Thursday, the show in Buffalo, New York, not being broadcast or anything. On this one, we've got Mandy Leon versus Jenny Rose in the Women of Honor match. The Dogs of Rhett Titus and Will Ferreira face Coast to Coast of LSG and Shashim Ali. Adam Page one-on-one with Kushida. Chaos of Yano and Yoshihashi face the Bullet Club of Marty Scurll and Cody. Frankie Kazarian one-on-one with Jay Lethal. Daniels takes on Hiromu Takahashi with Daryl, of course. The Kingdom of Taven, Vinny Marsaglia, and TK O'Ryan take on the Bullet Club of Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. Will Ospreay one-on-one with Punishment Martinez. And Mark Briscoe and the War Machine take on Suzuki Gun of the Killer Elite Squad and Minoru Suzuki. Yes, he's back in America. So then, the Friday show in Pittsburgh, this is being live broadcast for ringside members of the Ring of Honor website. So you will be able to, I think that from what they're saying, that there will be some sort of live stream of it. In that sense, I think. They haven't been too entirely clear. I believe that's the indication. Britt Baker's set to be on the show. Not sure what match, though, in the Women of Honor. Then there's a Proving Ground Instant Reward match for the TV title featuring Punishment Martinez, Adam Page, Josh Woods, Matt Taven, Kushida, and Kenny King. So basically, if anybody wins the match that isn't Kenny King, they get a title match against Kenny King right then and there. Mark Briscoe faces Takahashi. Jay White takes on Jay Lethal, so either way, Jay wins. The Best Friends of Beretta and Chucky T face The Addiction of Kazarian and Daniels. Silas Young faces Minoru Suzuki. I don't think Silas Young is the last real man anymore. Killer Elite Squad face War Machine in a non-title match, it's noted. In a triple threat match for the World Tag Titles, the Motor City Machine Gun take on former champs Young Bucks and the Kingdom of Vinny Marsaglia and TK O'Ryan. And then the Bullet Club of Cody Omega and Marty Scurll face Chaos of Ospreay, Yoshihashi, and Toru Yano. Then Saturday, Columbus, Ohio. Again, this one I believe is going to be live streamed for ringside members on the Ring of Honor's website. On this one, the Women of Honor match is Holly Dead versus Sumi Sakai. That's actually a pretty good one. Josh the Goods Woods takes on Shane Taylor. Adam Page and Marty Scurll team up to take on Kenny King and Mark Briscoe. Silas Young and the Beer City Bruiser face the Motor City Machine Guns in a non-title match. Jay Lethal one-on-one with Hiromu Takahashi, with Daryl. Daryl was on all 4 nights, but I guess I just mentioned it there. I don't know why. The Addiction of Daniels and Kazarian face Search and Destroy of Jonathan Gresham and Jay White. Suzuki Gun team up with the Killer Elite Squad, which is the Suzuki... Okay. Minoru Suzuki teams up with the Killer Elite Squad as part of Suzuki Gun to take on Ospreay, Yoshihashi, and Toru Yano, representing Chaos. Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks face Flip Gordon and the Best Friends of Chucky T and Beretta. I sense that's something for being the Elite. Probably. And Cody defends the Royal title against Kushida. And then the Chicago, Illinois show is being broadcast on iPay-per-view to everybody. So you can check that out this Sunday. On this card, we've got Silas Young and the Beer City Bruiser facing the Best Friends of Chucky T and Beretta. Toru Yano one-on-one with Colt Cabana. Need to say more. Only problem is that probably means BJ is going to be on commentary. Christ. Cabana, please do most of the commentary. Save us. Kushida and Cheeseburger take on the Addiction of Daniels and Kazarian. Jay Lethal, Mark Briscoe, and Kenny King. That's an interesting situation, considering Kenny King's next challenger is technically Mark Briscoe. Face Suzuki Gun of the Killer Elite Squad and Minoru Suzuki. Flip Gordon one-on-one with Will Ospreay. Marty Scurll versus Hiromu Takahashi. And Daryl. So it's Daryl versus Umbrella. Dun dun dun. Kenny Omega defends the US title against Yoshihashi. And the main event. Cody, Adam Page, and the Young Bucks face Search and Destroy of Jonathan Gresham, Jay White, and the Motor City Machine Guns. Overall, stacked cards this weekend. We've got the Ring of Honor crazy stuff. Evolve with its, from what I can tell, last double header of the year, at least. CZW making its return. Shikara having its Shikaratopia stream. AAW's Jim Lynam tournament. The start of the Young Lions Cup for the first time in about a decade. The CAWF Mid-Atlantic Rumble. ICW's 11th anniversary show. Whole load of stuff happening. Results from those shows this weekend will be coming. And as a little preview as to what's to come next week, if I get to the right place in my notes, we'll be covering shows next week from Freelance Wrestling, House of Glory, Shine, PWX, Wrestle Circus, and PWG's All-Star Weekend. Among probably others that I'm not even noting, I believe there's a Ring of Honor TV taping as well. I think there's also a Rev Pro show and another ICW show as well, following on from this weekend. All that's happening, and hopefully less, so these videos get shorter. Either way, that's your indie content. Well, there's some indie stuff that I'll be mentioning as well, coming up in the news bit, but there's a lot of news for me to get through, to sort the wheat from the chaff, but there's some big talking points that certainly we can cover. If I haven't already, I might cover them again. Just to catch up with. And also the TV reviews. We've got this week's Lucha Underground. We've got a few weeks of NXT to catch up on. A few weeks of Impact. SmackDown, I guess I sort of caught up with. Raw, certainly. Well, no, I guess I covered Raw because I did that. Oh, I'm trying to forget. Also the UFC. Very interesting show this past weekend. Certainly one of the craziest finishes in UFC history. We'll be discussing that in, I guess, the TV review stuff. I think I've decided that now, for some reason. Whatever. Either way, this video's got to be up, so Owen can publish it within the next few hours, so it's up for Thursday. So I better cut it off. See you later in the week, guys.